Hello, 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 everybody. Actually, hello, world. Welcome to Wife Masterclass. This is your girl, the one sexy wife herself, Gail Crowder, and I am super excited that you have decided to join me today. You have no idea what you have in store. We have 5 weeks, and starting today, of phenomenal teachers and speakers that are ready to pour into you and into your marriage. I have one of my wonderful teachers and speakers that is going to join us tonight. The other two, as you know, one is Allison Seymour. She is actually a news anchor in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. So she might try to hop on, but, you know, she has 1,000 things going on. And then we have the wonderful LaDon Black that is actually live right now on her radio show in Baltimore. So you guys give her a shout out. But I do have one of my special guests who will be imparting into you guys next week. I have Rachel from the Big Blue Coaching Couch. Oh God, that's a whole lot to say. And if you guys have not been on the website and actually read about these phenomenal women, you have done yourself a disservice, because these women are phenomenal. And just to let you guys know a little bit about Rachel, she doesn't know this, but I've been stalking them for about a year or so. And so when God told me to open up Wife Masterclass again, I reached out to her, and I was just hoping that she said yes. And she did say yes, because I admire what they do on a consistent basis. You have to go on their website. They're fun. They're open. Her and her business partner. I couldn't have them both on here, so I was kind of gravitated towards Rachel. So, Rachel, if you would just come forth and say hello to the ladies and tell them what you'll be speaking about next week. I'm super excited that you said yes, and I want to welcome you to Wife Masterclass. You have to unmute yourself, baby. There you go. Go ahead.
All right. Hi, ladies. I am so honored to be a part of this class. And how funny, Gail, that you've been watching us for as long as you have, because I consider it quite an honor that you asked me to be a part of this and to teach you guys, along with all the other fabulous women who are teaching. And so next week, you're going to hear more from me, and we're going to talk about the grass is greenest where you water it. And so I'm going to give you guys some timeless tips on how to keep that grass green in your marriage. And we're going to talk about some of those big heart issues that sometimes get in the way and make marriage a lot harder than it needs to be.
Yes, so I thank you so much for joining me in Wife Masterclass. And as people are getting on, you know, they can watch either through Google Hangout, or some of them are tuning in on my BSB YouTube station. So they're coming in from each way. But I just want to tell you, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Yeah, you're welcome.
A few housekeeping things. If you have not, again, visited the BSB website, it's bsbconference.com, and I'm telling you, it's a wealth of information there. I have so many things to offer. It's just a resource for wives, and I tell you, we continue to grow, we continue to expand, we continue to add new information. You know, God is. I just released a book back in September, which is hot, and so you'll get a chance to see the cover. It's a book called Keep Your Legs Open. So I just want to make sure that you guys are visiting the website bsbconference.com to learn more about the conference, to learn more about me. Again, I am Gail Crowder. I have been married for 28 years. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Should have been a statistic. And so tonight I want to jump right into the lesson, because at the end of the day, that's why you're here. You're here to really grow and to expand and to gain knowledge. And I love when women decide to take time for themselves. And if you got my emails, I always say, make time for yourself, because you're important. And once you make yourself important, then everybody else will make you important too. So I really, truly believe in that, because I have been a wife for a long time. I know what it is to be overwhelmed. I know what it is to be home with small children. I know what it is to be unemployed. I know what it is to be overworked. And so right now I have the pleasure of imparting into you guys in so many different ways, and I'm so blessed. Let me just give you a couple of things that are coming up really, really quickly. The MRS Factor is my 2017 conference, and I know you're saying, Gail, why are you talking about the Miss Factor? The Miss Factor is going to be off the hook. I'm just telling you. And when I posted it after my 2016 conference in January of this year, there's already 8 women registered, and God has truly blessed this conference to sell out for the last 5 years. And so I'm going to admonish you to visit the website, BSB Conference, and to register for that particular conference, because at the end of the day, it is going to be phenomenal. And I see that Allison has joined us. Hello, Allison.
Hello. Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. This is
Allison.
my first time being in this sort of chat room.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, say hello to the world, because we have the world watching. We have women registered from all over the world.
Wow.
And so I'm super excited about that. And if they're not in the Google Hangout, they're watching from my YouTube channel. So I'm super excited. And I just want to tell you, thank you so much. Hello, ladies. This is Allison Seymour. She's one of our speakers. She's going to be speaking to you guys on the 28th of this month. She can't stay because, you know, she's a news anchor in this the Washington, D.C. area. And I just want to tell you guys, thank you so much. Allison, you want to just come on and just speak to the ladies really, really quick?
Oh, sure.
Go ahead.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Well, Gail, thank you for having me, and I'm so excited to be a part of this series. It's empowering. It's this nice little sister circle that I feel very welcomed in, and I just can't wait to share ideas and talk about what it is to be a wife today, a woman today, a mom today, a sister, daughter, all that good stuff. So I'm excited, Gail. Thank you.
Thank you so much for jumping on. And I told the ladies that you had a lot going on and that you wouldn't be able to stay on, but I truly appreciate you taking the time to hop on with us. And so I'm going to get right back into the lesson that I'm going to teach today. And today I want to talk about, did you marry expectation? That is a huge one. And I will tell you, I did marry expectations, because when I came into my marriage, I was 21 years old. Had no business being married at all, had no reference to healthy relationships, so I came into my marriage as a boss. And what do I mean as a boss? I came from a strong line of women. I was raised in a single-parent home, and so everybody that I knew, from my grandmother to my mother to my aunts, they were bosses, and they ran the house. They took care of the bills. They their husbands brought the checks home, and they pretty much ran the house. So when I got married, that was the way I thought things were supposed to go down. I thought that, you know, he was supposed to bring the check home to me, ask no questions, and I was going to run things. But needless to say, 6 years into my marriage, almost 7 years into my marriage, my husband up and left me because he decided that he did not want to meet my expectations any longer. And so I can talk from this standpoint that we as wives come into our marriages with so many different expectations. It could be expectations on how you're going to be treated. It's expectations on how we should raise our children, expectations on how much money you should make in the marriage, expectations on how, you know, he should compliment you every day. All of those expectations that we come into our marriage with sometimes can end up hurting us, disappointing us, and sometimes even making us really have aught against our spouses. And I was one of those people, because again, my expectations was that Gil was going to let me do and say whatever I needed to say, when I wanted to say it, and how I wanted to say it, and that he should be okay with that. I grew up very, in a sense, spoiled, because I always had, you know, clothing and all the different things that I wanted, because if I didn't get it from my mom, I asked my grandmother, and if I didn't get it from my grandmother, I just went through the family, and eventually I got exactly what I wanted. And so my expectations was, when I got married, that would continue, that if I asked for a $200 pair of shoes, that somebody would get it, and that, i.e. being my husband, Gil. And so I literally thought he was crazy the first time he told me that he wasn't going to buy me something. I was like, what? Excuse me? That's not how I roll. And so it caused a huge, huge argument over some shoes. And so my expectations, as I have matured, have changed and calmed down and really shifted. But I will say, most of us come into marriages with unrealistic expectations of ourselves and of our spouses. And most of all is of our spouses, because a lot of times we want to point the finger and we really don't want to face what we have going on in our personal lives. And most of the time the expectations that we want to place on someone else are insecurities that we have going on in our own lives. And so when I began to go on this journey and blame Gail for everything that was going wrong, and my expectations were so high of him, and when he was not meeting those marks, then I just felt sometimes that I married the wrong person. I felt that he was disrespectful to me. I felt all of those things, but when I really had to get myself into counseling and really realize what was going on, I realized I was the one that was out of control. I realized that I was the one who had unrealistic expectations that I couldn't even meet. I couldn't meet them. And so I used to say to Gil, when you were dating me, you used to tell me I was pretty every day. Well, we were dating, and then he had to go to a second half of school, so we would talk on the phone. So, of course, he would say, you know, send me a picture. You look really pretty. But, you know, when you're living in a household every day, sometimes you feel like your spouse takes you for granted. So but I realized I wasn't telling him that he was handsome every day like I used to tell him when I was dating. So all of my expectations, and I can go on, and everybody's expectations are different. But I just want to tell you that, first of all, no one on this planet can meet every last one of your expectations. They're not created that way. It was only one perfect person, and his name is God, and he lives up in heaven. He lives inside of us. Jesus lives inside us. But I just have to tell you that no one on this planet will ever meet all of your expectations. And so if you're in a situation where you feel like your spouse is not meeting your expectations, you really need to sit down and ask yourself, is it me? Is it him, or is it both of us? And what can we do to make it better? And so I want to give us some tools and strategies that really help me to get from where I was to where I am now. The thing is that I learned in my counseling, and I get a chance to coach and mentor women from all over the world. I'm blessed that way, and trust me, I have not arrived, because a lot of my expectations are still not being met, but I will tell you most of them are, because I quit putting expectations on other people, and I start putting tools and strategies in place that I don't get my feelings hurt, and that I don't expect people to do more for me than I would do for myself. And so that's a rule of thumb that I live by. And sometimes it's a good rule, and sometimes it's not. Again, I'm not a perfect person, but nobody is. And so I just want to talk to you a little bit more about how to get some of your expectations met. And the first thing is communicate your expectations to your spouse. Some of you are saying, Gail, I already did that and he didn't listen. Well, the thing is that did you communicate? How did you communicate them? Because tone is everything. Tone of voice is everything, and timing is also everything. I used to want to talk to Gail as soon as he walked through the door. And he's like, well, can I put my stuff down? And can I go to the bathroom? Can I have 5 minutes? And then that would irritate me, and then that would cause another a problem in the marriage, because then he was already at a 10 and I was at a 10, because I wanted to get whatever I had holding on my chest off my chest, but before he did all of those things. So the first thing is communicate your expectations, but do it in a safe place, and do it when you guys are both in a relaxed state, not when you're on a 10 and you're upset about something, because it's just going to put that other person on the defense as well. And do it in a non-threatening way. And most of the time I say do it outside your bedroom. And why do I say do it outside your bedroom? Because your bedroom should be a sanctuary, and it shouldn't be a place of war, because, you know, at the end of the day, you don't want to make love where you're fighting too. And I know some people still have really small children. I say pick another space. Go in the bathroom and close the door if you have to have intense fellowship. I am all about not doing that in my bedroom and in my bedroom space, okay? The second thing is change your perspective. No one, again, no one can meet all your expectations. And so sometimes we have set the bar so high that you know, it's impossible. And so your spouse just gives up. He's like, I'm not going to be able to please her anyway, so why even try? And that was Gail's attitude. So you have to really manage and not say lower your standards, but also have a conversation and say, you know, perfect example. My expectation is that I love a clean house. I just do, because I just can't function in clutter and stuff everywhere. I just can't, right? I live in a household with a bunch of men, right? Well, it used to be 3 of them. Now my oldest one is out the door, whoop, whoop, and then I have a teenager, then I have my husband. And so when I come in my door, everybody's tennis shoes is like right in the foyer, and that just runs me hot. So my thoughts was, okay, I'll buy a shoe rack. And the shoe rack never was being utilized because they just kept doing the same exact thing. So I would, you know, shoot the roof every time I came home, because it's like I'm about to trip over all of these shoes. And if people who know me, I wear 6-inch heels all the time. So I was like, I'm going to break my neck one night coming in here. So I had to sit down and I had to stop yelling and screaming, because I realized that was not getting me anywhere. And I had to stop and say, okay, how do I get these men to put their tennis shoes up? I had a meeting and I said, listen, when I come home, I have on 6-inch heels. Most of the time I have a whole bunch of stuff in my hand. I'd appreciate it if you put your shoes up. And if you can't put them on a rack, then take them up with you. I would prefer you taking them upstairs with you than just leaving them down here. But until I said that simple thing of what I need them to do and why it was important for me for them to move their shoes, and why it was bothering me so much that they were leaving their shoes and I could trip and fall, then it made a difference in how they put their shoes up. And that is something so simple. And I know there's women dealing with much larger issues, but my expectations when I was yelling and screaming and saying, come get your shoes, come get your shoes, is that they were getting the point. They really wasn't, because it wasn't registering why I was so upset about the shoes being in the foyer. And that, like, again, that's something so simple. Number 3, be realistic. Be realistic with your expectations. And I'm going to say this over and over again. You can't give people 20 different expectations all at one time and expect them to implement them all at one time. It's just not going to happen, because you can't even do it yourself. And I'm a strong believer, don't ask someone to do something that you don't want to do yourself. And so when you start wanting and managing your expectations, ask yourself, what is realistic that I could handle and that my husband can handle? And remember, your husband processes information totally different from you. And it's a known fact. We can be on the phone cooking and washing dishes all at the same time. They can't do it. That's not the way they were built. So when you're asking your husband in a non-threatening way certain things to manage his to do certain things, make sure that you're not overloading them with information and you just become this in their ear. Okay? The 4th thing is give yourself and your spouse a to-do list. And it's something that you guys need to make together. Gail, my husband won't sit down and do anything. Yes, he will. If you do it in a different way, you know, just say, hey, honey, on Saturday, can I get 30 minutes of your time? It's just some things that we need to start working together on that you know, will make our lives, our household, whatever you got going on will run a lot smoother. Because I used to think that Gail wouldn't sit down with me either, but it was the approach. And if you carve out a time and say, on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, I would like to speak to you, and it's Monday, then I'm telling you, most likely he will carve out that time. But if you are one of those wives that I used to be and still can be, I need to talk to you right now, and he's in the middle of watching the game, the likelihood of that communication is not going to go well. I'm just telling you, it's not. And so as I begin to close here, I just want to tell you guys, managing your expectation and expecting your husband to be the same exact way he was when you first married him, it's not going to happen, because you're not the same exact person. Life experiences, children, work, trauma, all kind of different things, and you know, intense fellowship, all those different kind of things have affected your expectations, and you have to learn to adjust them. Is it easy? Absolutely not, especially if you're the one who is always giving and you feel that you're not receiving. And so I will tell you this, is that I used to be the one always taking, and then the tables flipped, and Gail began the one that was always taking, and then I was like, wow, this doesn't feel good. So how do we come into agreement? How do we get on a happy medium? Is everything perfect? Absolutely not, because I still want him to tell me how beautiful I am every day, but that doesn't happen every day. So I tell myself, because I you know, I have that kind of self-esteem, but I also sow for what I want. So I tell him how handsome he is, and so I start reciprocating and getting what I'm putting out there. And so when you're looking at expectations, write your expectations down on a piece of paper, and it helps so much. And then then look at your list and write which ones you feel are really realistic, and ones that you and your husband can agree on. And you're not going to agree on every last one of them, I can guarantee you that. But you probably will run a 50-50 split. And so I just tell you that I get so many women that contacted me and said, he's not doing anything, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do this. It's a reason why. It's a reason why people stop doing the things that they did in the beginning, and it's a reason why you are frustrated, or vice versa. And so you have to learn to communicate with your spouse, and trust me, every spouse is not easy to communicate with. I get it, I get it, I get it. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to put them in the chat. I believe the chat is there, or you can post them on the Facebook event group, or you can post them in the BSB thing. Also, if it's a personal matter, you're more than welcome to email me or hit me up in my my personal Facebook page, and I will be on there after this chat. I do have some closing things that I want to introduce to you guys. If you have not purchased my book, it's been doing phenomenal, and it was a passion of mine, and it was something that I kind of struggled with, and it's really a guide that I did not have when I first got married, and it's called Keep Your Legs Open, a wife's guide to sexual satisfaction, because I get a chance to talk to women from all over the world that are struggling in that area, and it just gives you some practical tools and tips to really help you get comfortable in that area. I get a lot of people that ask me, Gail, where are you going? Where are you teaching? All those different kind of things. So I'm going to give you some quick things where I'm going to be this month. On the 12th of this month, I'll be hanging out on Blab. This will be my first time doing a Blab with Mocha Moms. They're having me on Mocha Moms After Dark, so I'll be on at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. So we will be talking about the 10 things to bring sexy back to your marriage. So I'm super excited about that. And then on the 17th of this month, Kiki Ramsey and I will be doing a singles chat, because as you guys know, I'm a relationship expert. So I will be doing something for the singles, so you can go to Seal the Deal for Love if you have some single friends out there that want to hop on our singles chat. And then on the 22nd of this month, I will be hosting Get Courageous with Kiki Ramsey, and I'm super excited that I'll be doing that. And if you want to learn more about registering for that, she is running a buy one bring your girlfriend for free right now. So you can hit her up at kikiramsey.com, and I'm super excited about that. She has some phenomenal things that's going to go on at Get Courageous, and it's something that I do every single year for myself because she is truly helps me get past my fears, and she had me zip lining, which I had never done and won't do again because she's helping me get past my fears. So again, that's kikiramsey.com for Get Courageous. And so if you guys again have any questions about anything that we talked about today at Wife Masterclass, please hit me up. The last thing I want to do is say to you before we close out for tonight is learn to really forgive yourself and forgive your spouse. And I know you're like, Gail, what does that have to do with expectations? Expectations are not being met in every area of our life, not just in our marriages, with our children. Sometimes our children disappoint us. Sometimes it's on our jobs. Our bosses disappoint us. Sometimes we disappoint ourselves with our performances at our jobs. All those different expectations. So the first thing I really want you to learn is to forgive yourself. And if it's going on with you and your spouse, forgive your spouse because, again, he's human. The second thing is make a list of the expectations that you have, and some that you can live with and some that you can't live without, and see how you can compromise with your spouse. The third thing is really explain your part in the expectation. Is it emotional, or is it something that really needs to happen in order to make your household run a lot smoother? Because a lot of times we're very emotional about things that really are not that are not a big deal, but we make them a big deal. So just try to analyze those things. And the other thing is try to come to a resolution when it comes to expectations not being met, because at the end of the day, you went into a covenant with your husband, and you don't want the small things to be the things that draw you guys apart, because God's desires is we stay close as possible. And so, again, I thank you so much for joining Wife Masterclass. And don't forget to tune in on next Thursday, same time. And I will see you guys hanging out on Facebook and on social media. I love you guys, and I truly appreciate you. And this is Gail signing off, the One Sexy Wife. Have a wonderful, wonderful night.